As always, viewers, the biggest stories on the show. And I begin with a question tonight. Should Amitabh Bachchan be stopped from casting his vote in Mumbai just because he belongs to Allahabad? I'm sure you will laugh at me for asking this question, viewers. But in Kashmir, 25 lakh Indians who have been living there and working there are being told you can't vote in the state because you're outsiders. This is akin to saying that all the people from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh living and working in Mumbai or Delhi should not be allowed to vote there. How can an Indian, viewers, be an outsider in India? For the first time since the abrogation of Article 370, the electoral polls of Kashmir have been updated to give a vote to all adults who reside in the Union Territory. To the existing 76 lakhs, now 25 lakh more voters have been added in the biggest leap towards Sabka Kashmir, Kashmir for all, the total integration of Kashmir with the rest of India. But many in the valley say Biharis and UP wale bhaiyas should not be allowed to vote. Listen in to this xenophobia, viewers.
से कहता हूं और मैं अपने साथियों को, सारी पार्टियों को कहूंगा कि इस सिस्टम को रोको, नहीं तो आपको ये जो यूपी और बिहार के लोग जो हैं ये खा जाएंगे। यहां क्राइम पहले ही बढ़ रहा है, रोज नया नया क्राइम मतलब वजूद में आ रहा है।
This is the last nail in the coffin of electoral democracy here. जम्मू कश्मीर एक लेबोरेटरी बन चुका है बीजेपी के लिए। यहाँ वो तजुर्बा करते हैं, उसके बाद बाहर जाके उसको अप्लाई करते हैं। और जितना भी जो भी कुछ जम्मू कश्मीर में हो रहा है, ये इस फसाड में हो रहा है कि हम जम्मू कश्मीर को मुख्य धारा का हिस्सा बनाना चाहते हैं। हम इसका इंटीग्रेशन करना चाहते हैं कंट्री के साथ।
We sincerely hope that the Chief Election Commissioner of Leh and Ladakh is working to establish free and fair elections in J&K rather than cementing or ensuring hike in number of voters for one particular party.
Viewers, one doesn't know what to say. What these xenophobes are essentially saying is that you, that is the rest of India, can come as tourists to our valley. You can live and work to boost the economy, pay your taxes, but you won't have a stake in how the state is run, managed, administered. Wow. They love our money, but won't be accountable to us. This xenophobia, this othering, this discrimination is not surprising. For far too long, under the guise of Article 370, Kashmiris in the valley got away with patently discriminatory rules that wouldn't have been entertained, tolerated anywhere else in the country. Now, here are some hard facts that bust this noxious xenophobic propaganda against a move, viewers, to update the electoral rolls that could be game-changing, that could breed inclusiveness in Kashmir. What is the first charge? The first charge that is being made is that outsiders are being brought in, imported by the BJP to vote for the BJP. What are the facts? Earlier, viewers, before the abrogation of 370, only residents prior to 1950 who were living there got a vote. So you may have moved in independent India after 1950 to Kashmir, but you would not have been allowed to vote. 5,764 Pakistani refugees, that are refugees that came from Pakistan, Hindu refugees, have been denied a vote for 75 years, viewers. The other big charge, Mehbooba Mufti makes this charge, that this is the last nail in the coffin of electoral democracy. Viewers, the fact is that across India, any Indian can vote where he lives. migrant Kashmiris too can vote from other states. So why should the valley in Kashmir be an exception to the rule that is being followed all across this country? Think about that. The other big charge, 24 lakhs have been added to 76 lakhs existing ones so that you can skew the population. The fact is, viewers, that annual population growth has gone up to 14 to 15%. There's no annual summary revision since 2019. Therefore, this is being done. The other charge is it's done to increase voters for one party. The fact is, viewers, that penal action will be taken for any wrong entry of data. 71,735 NRIs enrolled to vote in 2019 Lok Sabha polls. Were they only voting only? And were they only given the vote, viewers, to benefit the BJP? This is hilarious. The other charge is unacceptable to change electoral demography of the state. Viewers, 15,000 Marathi and 20,000 Gujarati voters are, in fact, viewers, in Varanasi South constituency in Uttar Pradesh. They are allowed to vote. How is this possible? How does this happen? The other charge is voters from Bihar and UP can't vote in Kashmir. The fact is, viewers, that 16 assembly seats in Delhi are dominated by UP Bihar migrants. They're allowed to vote. In Mumbai too, similar numbers. As I said, what is going on? What is going on? Is Kashmir only for the likes of Maliks, Abdullahs and Muftis, not for the Patnaiks of India, not for the Nayars of India, not for the Yadavs of India who want to go, live, work there, settle there, pay their taxes there, enrich the state, the coffers of the state, but can't vote? Because this is an attempt at othering, discrimination. And I want to open this up. I want to ask some basic questions. Sajjad Tariq, there are many Kashmiris. If you just go to Mumbai, there are many Kashmiris who live, work, who've got businesses in Mumbai. There are many also in Delhi. And many of them have enrolled as voters. Should they not be allowed to vote in the rest of India? Should Biharis and UP wala, as you call them, bhaiyas, who go to Mumbai, live there, pay their taxes there, contribute to the welfare of the state, they not be allowed to vote in those states where they've chosen to settle in? What is so underhand about an Indian voting in another part of India? If he lives there, if he chooses to live there, why are you making the valley into an enclave of a few families? Why, sir?
Look, Rahul, I would like to say one thing, that first of all, we should know the situation of Kashmir. This is what we have been experimenting with Kashmir from last so many years, especially from last 2-3 years. Previously, it was said that by abrogation of Article 370, everything will go right. And I'll tell you, in last 70 years, the number of targeted killings which you will find in last 2-3 years, that too of my Kashmiri Pandit brothers, is the maximum, Now, second thing is this, that you cannot make it experimental lab, that you will keep on testing everything over it. You see, we changed the position of Kashmir and we abrogated Article 370, and there China took over the land. And nobody is questioning that, because the international status of the state was changed.
Tariq bhai.
Now, if we come to this, let me combine. Rahul ji,
you know, this is
बात आप सुनिए, मैं आपसे कहना चाहता हूं, दूसरा ये कि आप J&K के लोगों को तो रहने की फैसिलिटीज प्रॉपर दे नहीं पा रहे हैं, जो ऑलरेडी वहां पे पिस रहे हैं. It is not a normal state right now also. We are facing terrorism. We are facing other things.
Sir, that is not the objection that is being raised.
And then
I'll tell you what the objection is. Can I, sir, please, you are taking me again on a joyride around the issue, but not addressing the issue. अब ये देखिए सज्जाद लोन पीपल्स कॉन्फ्रेंस मेरी बात सुन लीजिए सर देखिए आई only quote back what people no one has raised all these issues. What are they saying is this will be as disastrous as 1987 rigging. What will be? Giving the vote to people who have been paying their taxes, sir, who have been working for the welfare of Kashmir. It's the last nail in the coffin of electoral democracy, bid to influence poll results and disempower locals. आपको सर बिहारियों, यूपी वालों, मराठी पीपल, उड़िया पीपल, उनसे आपको इतनी चिढ़ क्यों है? वो आपके भाई लोग नहीं है, आपकी बहनें नहीं है वो, या आप उनको देख के यू लुक एट देम एज एजेंट्स ऑफ द बीजेपी. क्या आप सर, मैं आपसे पूछना चाह रहा हूं और मैं उमर अब्दुल्ला साहब से भी पूछना चाह रहा हूं जिनके बच्चे दिल्ली में पढ़ते हैं, जो खुद दिल्ली आके रहते भी हैं, कि क्या उन लोगों को जब वो बड़े हो जाएंगे भारत में कहीं और रहने की इजाजत नहीं देनी चाहिए और वोटिंग करने की इजाजत नहीं देनी चाहिए? ये कैसे हो सकता है? कैन यू एक्सप्लेन दिस टू मी, तारिक साहब? दैट्स ऑल आई एम आस्किंग. हाउ इज दिस एन असॉल्ट ऑन डेमोक्रेसी? दिस इज एनरिचिंग डेमोक्रेसी.
Let me say something. If you go to Himachal, in Himachal you have domicile. In many of the states, especially tourist states, जहां पे tourists बहुत ज्यादा हैं, local tourism को promote, leaving aside militancy and terrorism also if we discuss, तो local लोगों को promote करने के लिए there is a domicile. Now the second point is this. आप किसी भी
अरे सर, there might be a domicile, but it doesn't disempower others from living there and voting there.
राहुल जी,
आप क्या बोल रहे हैं?
आप, मैं जो बोल रहा हूं वो सुनिए. आज अगर दिल्ली में 25 lakh voters means that 40% population of the state.
Delhi, do you know how many people live in Delhi?
Listen to me.
No, do you know how many people even live in Delhi, sir?
Let me compile. आज दिल्ली NCR की population अगर
तारिक भाई, please, you are talking out of your hat, sir. Please don't insult our intelligence and the intelligence of yours. आप बोल क्या रहे हैं?
राहुल, आप बोलने देंगे मुझे? अगर आप नहीं बोलने देंगे तो then what is, मैं क्या, मतलब मेरा व्यू पॉइंट तो मुझे
नहीं, आप सवाल का जवाब नहीं दे रहे हैं, पता नहीं क्या लैटरल आप
आपको जवाब भी दे रहा हूं.
चलिए,
आज आप
प्लीज रिस्पॉन्ड.
एनी स्टेट एंड एनी पॉपुलेशन ऑफ द स्टेट, लेट्स टॉक, अगर आप दिल्ली की बात करें, इफ द पॉपुलेशन इज 1 CR टू दिल्ली NCR की अगर 3 CR पॉपुलेशन है, आप आज 1.5 करोड़ वोटर्स वन गो में ऐड कर सकते हैं. नोबडी विल अलाउ. देयर विल बी अ सोशल रिवोल्ट ओवर इट.
रियली? Sajjad Tariq, have you been to our border areas? Have you been to Assam? Have you been to Assam? Have you been to West Bengal? वहां तो सर खुशहाली है, वहां तो इनरिचमेंट ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी हो रही है. वहां पर तो TMC वाले और कांग्रेस वाले, आपके ही पार्टी वाले हमें बताते हैं कि दिस इज एन इंक्लूसिव स्टेट.
मैं कह रहा हूं हिमाचल में भी
people have been given electoral cards who are not even citizens of this country. Why? Because you want to show how large-hearted we are as a democracy, and in Kashmir you're closing your hearts. Okay, nonetheless, let me open this up. ठीक है, आपका point मैं समझ गया कि you will not allow anyone to come in a huge. Sir, these people have not come in overnight. They have been living in your state. The electoral rolls have only been updated. That's all. They have been living there. आंखें खोल के थोड़ा देख लीजिए. फिलहाल आप लोग उनको भगाना चाह रहे हैं, गोलियां मार रहे हैं उनको. थोड़ा उनको इम्ब्रेस भी कीजिए.
I take great offense to it.
No.
हमने किसी को गोली मारी है, ना हम किसी को भगाने के उसमें हैं.
अरे साहब,
don't use these words.
You tell me, Sajjad Tariq, did you go out? Did you know? I'll ask you then. Let me ask you a question. Sajjad Tariq, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Sajjad Tariq. Let me ask you a question.
पहले आप
Will you condemn? सर, मैं ले लेता हूं, चलो जवाब अपना सारा कुछ वापस. मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछूंगा, उसका आप जवाब दीजिए और ऑनेस्ट जवाब दीजिए, ठीक है? नहीं, देखिए भाईचारा, देखिए, डोंट टेल मी अबाउट भाईचारा. आई एम वन ऑफ योर भाई सिटिंग हु शुड बी लिविंग इन योर स्टेट, सिटिंग आउटसाइड योर स्टेट, बिकॉज यू नेवर केम टू हेल्प मी. What nonsense are you talking?
सुनिए मेरी बात राहुल जी.
Don't give me this
आज
hogwash,
जो
okay?
सुनिए मेरी बात.
Did you light a candle for me? Did you? Will you?
सुनिए मेरी बात.
नहीं आप मैं सुना नहीं आपकी बात सर. I don't want to listen to your garbage.
जो भी बात करनी पड़ेगी.
Wait a minute.
Stand by that.
Let me bring in Dr. Ranganathan. Let me bring in General Bakshi. Let me bring in Tehseen Poonawala and apni party spokesperson Mr. Kashani. Dr. Ranganathan, what do you make of this? I think it's xenophobia.
Rahul, to be honest, good evening to you. But, listening to the previous panelists is the biggest test of ahimsa. Even though I am present digitally, I still feel the requirement for a straight jacket. ये कैसी भाषा है? ये कैसा logic है? और look at the xenophobia on display. Bihari, UP वाले भैया, what is this? Honestly, yours is a family channel, but मैं भी दिल्ली से हूँ, मैं भी बहुत सारे words use करता हूँ, but मैं इतना ही कहूँगा कि आप कश्मीरी कोई स्पेशल नहीं है. अपने आप को पता नहीं जो समझ रखा है. You are as special as the rest of us. You understand? और ये जो आप कहते रहते हैं ना, हिंदुस्तान किसी के बाप का थोड़ी ना है. ये कश्मीर भी किसी के बाप का नहीं है. और कश्मीर किसी के बाप के बच्चों का भी नहीं है.
ना मैंने ये
Get this in your head.
सुनिए मेरी बात.
And number two,
दूसरे पैनलिस्ट की बात
Kashmir belongs to all of us. And all of us can register to vote there. Like all of us can register to vote in any state. तो ये अपनी बकवास बंद रखिए. Rahul, as I have said before, unfortunately, Kashmir has been turned into a snakes and ladders game. The ladders are provided by Pakistan and the snakes by Indians. और ये panels पे भी आ जाते हैं काफी snakes. I say Indians, but I wonder if these people think of themselves as Indians. Their first allegiance is to religion, second to Pakistan, third to China, fourth to dynasty. It is a fact, Rahul, that Hyderabad could so easily have been what Kashmir is today. And fools in the media would be writing column yards on its struggle, but for one man, Sardar Patel. And Kashmir could so easily have been what Hyderabad is today, but for two men, Nehru and Sheikh Abdullah. They set the board down for the snakes and ladder game, which their progenies have been playing ever since, making sure Kashmir's bubbling and ever-present communal bigotry, ethnic cleansing, terrorism, and religious fanaticism don't enter the India narrative. They talk of human and religious rights. But when have you heard them speak on the atrocities committed by Pakistan against Ahmadiyyas or Baluchs? Leave aside the Hindu and Christian minorities. When have you heard them speak out against China that has interned more than 1 million Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps and is feeding them pork? Tab wo Muslims nahi rehte. When have you heard them speak out against the brutal trampling of human rights of lakhs of Dalits, Gurkhas, women, Sikhs, refugees, homosexuals in Kashmir because of 370 and 35A? But I'll tell you, when they do speak out, when their power and authority are threatened, like when Sheikh Abdullah spoke out and I quote, self-determination is our right. Countries that do not support it are our enemies. Or when Farooq Abdullah spoke out and I quote, they want to abolish 370 and we will remain silent. Inshallah, we will fight. We dare them. Allah would want that we gain independence from India. Quote, unquote. And when it comes to one particular dynast, you showed the clip of that, Miss Mehbooba Mufti. Rahul, one would be hard-pressed to find a bigger hypocrite or a bigot. From choosing a rape accused as an election candidate to threatening rivers of blood if 370 was abrogated, to shedding tears and mourn the death of terrorist Wani, to saying flags other than the tricolor will fly, to threatening sedition of saying, quote, why would a Muslim majority state want to stay with India, unquote, to wanting to introduce punishment according to Sharia law in Kashmir and death by stoning. Mehbooba Mufti has scaled all methane-spewing landfill summits. The only people objecting to this decision are these bigoted Islamic dynasts because this threatens their ability to control Kashmir. Kashmir किसी के बाप का नहीं है. ध्यान में रखना ये बात.
Well, it's a very important, 1 second moment.
मुझे 2 मिनट देंगे आप?
1 मिनट सर, प्लीज. कशानी साहब को भी बोलने दीजिए. उन्होंने भी थोड़ा टाइम निकाला है. जनरल बख्शी साहब ने भी, तहसीन साहब ने भी. तहसीन साहब, मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछ रहा हूं. Let me ask you a question. It's a very straightforward question tonight. Rahul Gandhi says that he comes from a Kashmiri family. He invoked his Kashmiri origins. Sorry?
Kashmiri Pandit family.
Yes, Kashmiri Pandit. You want to make that distinction also? It's okay.
No, I'm just making it clear. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, sir. Please. Kashmiris are Kashmiris. Okay.
That's
Maybe
true.
in your book, There are Hindus and Muslims, and there are Pandits, and there are Muslims. But for me, I come from Kashmir. At least half my family does. I don't make those distinctions. Okay, you do. Great for you, sir.
I'm not making distinction.
You're just exposing the Congress's mindset. Fair enough. That's okay. He's a Pandit. Let's call him a Pandit. He's not a Kashmiri. He's a Pandit first, viewers. Please.
No, he's a Kashmiri.
I'm offended. I've offended him. He's a Brahmin.
Rahul, can you come to the point?
Big Brahmin.
You have me on the
okay,
show. Let's come
fine.
to the show.
Let's move to the next question.
Yeah, thank you.
Where does he cast his vote?
Delhi.
Delhi. Now, viewers, this is amazing. A Kashmiri Pandit, by this logic, should not be allowed to cast his vote in Delhi. Where does he contest from? Uttar Pradesh, and now, of course, he has gone and sought out the southernmost tip of India, Kerala. Look at the motility, viewers, in this country. We are free. As lakhs, we can go from the top to the bottom, east to the west. This is the beauty. We are not China. We're not Pakistan where you need passes. Viewers, this is the beauty of our land. You can set up shop, you can live, you can eat, Tehseen Poonawalla, anywhere. Do you think Rahul Gandhi should not be allowed to vote in Delhi? Do you think people from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh should not be allowed to vote in Delhi if they live in Delhi? Mr. Poonawalla, can I ask you this question? Can you put your hand on your heart and give me an honest answer and say that if you are speaking up against the right to live, reside in Kashmir but not vote there, you will apply the same yardstick in other parts of this country? Mr. Poonawalla, go ahead.
Good evening, Rahul. Thank you for having me on the show. Good evening to all my fellow panelists, to all your viewers. And I want to thank General Bakshi for his service at the onset. It's because of people like him that we are safe, and he served in Jammu and Kashmir. There are 3 points that I want to make basically, and I hope you had a long question. I'm not interrupted. I'm going to make those 1 points. Dr. Anand, you answer me later on, but I'm specifically taking your name and I want to rebut you on one thing. You please correct me after I finish. The author of Article 370 was not Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, was Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Had it not been for Sardar Patel, we would not have had Article 370. It is Sardar Patel who framed Article 370. The meetings were held in his house with Sheikh Abdullah, and Pandit Nehru was kept updated on it. Not just that, 370 was also defended by Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. That is the history. Let's not fall for what is not history. I don't want to go into the past. And Rahul, you've raised 2 very pertinent questions. Anand, you can rebut me later. You've raised 2 very pertinent questions about the voting. I, for one, though I'm opposed to Prime Minister Modi politically, I did support the abrogation of Article 370. As Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru said, that this article will eventually be watered down, and it was watered down, but I don't agree the way the Prime Minister did it. However, when we're talking about the Constitution of India that now applies in the state of Jammu, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, as it applies in various other parts, anyone on this panel is free to read out Article 371A to J. Is Jammu and Kashmir the only union territory that has autonomy, or did other parts of India have? Point number 1. Point number 2. Now, please allow me, and I'll finish here, to read out Article 371A and G together, because their wordings are exactly the same. Article 371A and G says that the Parliament of India cannot decide the consent without the consent of the State Legislative Assembly on matters of religious, social practices of the Nagas or Mizos, civil and criminal law, land ownership, transfer, and customary practices. As the Congress spokesperson before me said, in Himachal, you cannot buy agricultural land. Various states, even in the state of Gujarat.
We're talking about all these things. We are talking about the right to vote.
You're not allowed to vote
and
in
secondly, let me tell you, viewers, let me tell you, one second. Anyone who has read, one second, please.
Sir, I demand my time. I don't cede time. In the state of Mizoram, in the state of Nagaland, if Rahul Shivshankar goes and settles there, he's not allowed to vote. It is protected by Article 371A and G.
Sir?
Should it go? I am in favor of it. Ask Modi ji to remove it.
Of course it should.
Remove it.
Of
but
course
Modi
it
ji
should.
never questioned.
Of course
That's
it should.
the problem.
Of
the
course it
hypocrisy
should.
of Modi ji comes
One second. Tehseen Poonawalla.
One minute.
I welcome the abrogation of Article 370. And let me
One more line.
No, 1 second. On a matter of fact, so that a large number of young people watching this show are not misled. Let me tell you, sir, if you have read a book by C.D. Dasgupta.
Yes.
Okay, have you read that book?
Go
you
on,
should read
me.
it. It was on Kashmir. Okay? One of the greatest expositions. Let me finish, sir. Please, I beg you, sir, let me finish. The author of Article 370, sir, in the first cabinet of this country was a man called Iyengar, N. Gopalaswamy Iyengar. So please get your facts right. He was in charge of... Let me finish.
Okay.
He was in charge of Kashmir affairs.
Yes.
Yes, the entire cabinet approved it, but also remember, the constitution stipulated that it needs to be scrapped after a certain point in time. So there was agreement.
And please allow me to answer. Anand, please, I'll let you come in. I don't see it speak. Anand, I don't see it. I don't see it. No, I don't see it. I want to answer because I will not allow. Yes, I completely agree on that fact.
Then why were you spreading false facts?
You have to allow me to speak. You have to allow me to speak.
I don't see.
Please allow me to speak. Yes, I am speaking the truth. You fact check me. All meetings for 370 happened at Sardar Patel's house where Sheikh Abdullah came. Sardar Patel, please allow me to finish. Sardar Patel was in favor of 370. Not just that, Shama Prasad Mukherjee and the entire cabinet supported it. Now, I'm not going to history. I'm coming down to one thing. You made a very interesting point, Rahul, and I agree to that point, and I see to that point. We are not China. We are not Pakistan. We don't require visas to travel here and there in India, except Amit Shah ji, when he was bringing the CAA law, which I think is illegal and I've challenged the Supreme Court, brought inline permits for these northeastern states that you, Rahul, that you, Anand, that my two fellow panelists from Jammu and Kashmir cannot go and settle down in those northeastern states.
Mr.
Now,
Poonawala,
I am asking you, why is Mr. Modi such a hypocrite? Why doesn't he also advocate 371?
Yes.
I am in favor of 370
questions. You can ask those questions.
Because the man is a hypocrite.
1 second.
He wants to polarize the country by experimenting in Kashmir.
Okay, Mr. Poonawala, for you, Kashmir is an experimentation ground.
Not for me, for Mr. Modi.
Mr. Nehru did was the greatest experiment. He took the entire issue to the United Nations, where we have been bogged down for the rest of our lives. But you will not fall out.
Did he take it?
1 second.
On whose advice did he take it?
Mr. Poonawala, you have to allow me to also finish.
Sure, but you should also allow me to answer.
You have come here with an agenda, that's fine.
I don't have an agenda.
Let me finish.
I have facts.
Okay, sir. If you had facts, you wouldn't have got the most basic one wrong. Nonetheless.
I got everything correct, and please allow me.
Sir, please.
Okay, after you.
Now,
Please, just 30 seconds. General G.D. Bakshi is also there, and I don't have time for everybody, so please. I just want to make 2 points. Viewers, we are all agreed here on this panel, at least the 3 patriots here, I don't know about the rest, that 370, 371, excuse me.
Am I not a patriot? I am for 370
need to be scrapped, okay?
The
Constitution,
who said you aren't one of the three?
Constitution, did I say that you were not? Did I say that you were not? I never said
it. Who are the 3? Who are the 3?
Listen to me. Listen to me. 1 second. Give me 30 seconds.
What is patriotism of
Mr. Poonawala, 1 second, Tariq Saab. 1 second. 1 second. Mr. Kashani. Okay. Look. I have come with an agenda. Okay, I have come with an agenda. I have come with the agenda. I am very honest about my agenda. I want the full emotional, psychological integration of Kashmir with India. That's my agenda. You can fault me for my agenda. You can attack me for my agenda. I'll take it on my chest. I have an agenda. Maybe Tehseen, you don't. Great for you. I have it. And I'm speaking it here. Making it very public. General Bakshi, everyone can talk about Article 370, this 70, that you can't buy land here, you can't live there, you can't do this there. That's fair enough. But here in Kashmir today, Article 370 is gone. And what we are getting from the people there is a discriminatory attitude against any other Indian from coming and staying there, living there, earning their bread there, and getting the right to vote there. Why do you think this is the case, General Saab?
Rahul, because now we are delving into history and the innards of history really. Let me give you a very interesting historical fact. Sheikh Abdullah, the self-confessed Prime Minister then of Jammu and Kashmir, he went to Nehru and asked for, these constitutional assurances, and Nehru dutifully sent him to the Law Minister. And the Law Minister? Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. So Abdullah went and presented his case for all these special provisions, patiently Bhimrao Ambedkar, a terrific lawyer, incisive legal mind, heard him out. And do you know what he said? He said, Sheikh Saab, you want India, the citizens of India, to pay for your roads, your schools, your hospitals, your facilities, everything. And in return, you want them not to have any rights there? This is treachery. And I, as the law minister, will never do it. He went crying back to Nehru, who sent him to the aforementioned Gopal Swami Iyengar, who dutifully, to please his master, complied. And we were hoist with this petard for the last 75 years, more or less.
Yes.
73.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is, Rahul, one of the best and clear-sighted decisions ever taken by the government of India has been the abrogation or the nullification of this Article 370 and 35A, which were a blot upon the Constitution. They were temporary provisions. They should have gone long back, thrown out of the window.
Tell me what
because
has been
they
achieved
created
in 3 years.
an ambiguity which allowed hostile forces.
Do they have a threat that the voting percentage will still be low?
I think I heard you very patiently. Sir, I heard you
attempt to
with
disempower the population. This is complete attempt
Can you show the same
create a more trust deficit and more disbelief in the democratic setup.
Empower, sir.
You don't give us lectures.
Can you, sir, stop heckling?
This is an attempt to disempower the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Are they so scared to win in Jammu and Kashmir, to win the hearts of Jammu and Kashmir?
Why are you
they have to
getting
get
so
voters from
upset on
outside?
hearing the other argument? Are you so hollow?
If a voter is, if there is eligibility, let him have the domicile first.
Rahul, this is just
let the voter have domicile
What do you do,
first.
sir?
This is just
What do you do?
Sir,
What do you do?
I heard you with patience. Give me the same courtesy. Then I would like to hear you.
I didn't get any voting rights.
I can't hear you right now. Okay, sir. I have also suffered. By the way, I am from Jammu. You understand? I was born in Jammu.
The BJP has failed
I
to
was
win
born
the
in
hearts
Jammu.
of people. That is
And
why
I know the way, the
attempts have been made
step-motherly
to
treatment
disempower and
that
disengage
Jammu
the
got
people of Jammu
from
and
the
Kashmir.
valley. The valley
There is
leaders.
no logic behind this.
I know how land was being purchased there to change the demographic profile.
There is no
You want me
logic
to tell you the
behind this.
truth?
How are they
You
going
just
to
have it your way.
differentiate how many
Because you
years
are on
he
the
has
accusing side
been staying
always.
in Jammu and Kashmir?
What did you do to the people of Jammu?
This is a confusion. There's a confusion among the people, and rather to win
their
the heart of Jammu and
demographic
Kashmir,
hold
they are
on
pulling
the
them,
state, on their own
pushing
state?
them more
Why
towards
did
the
you
wall.
get the Rohingyas there? Why?
This
did
is
you
an attempt to
settle
disempower.
Rohingyas
Understand
there?
that.
Nobody
is getting empowered.
Additional smugglers, gun runners, cattle runners. You want to
This is
settle
the
them?
same
only
rhetoric
state
that
you
you
found
like
in
to
India
play on every debate.
Step in. Let me step in. Let me step in. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Silence, everybody. Let me just step in. General Saab, don't get baited. Don't get baited. Don't get baited. General Saab, don't get baited. Don't get baited by these gentlemen.
Acting holier than thou.
1 second. Let me ask. Let me ask, because some people said, who are the patriots on this panel? Let's do the patriot test. Let me ask everyone a question. Yes, no. General Bakshi, is Burhan Wani an Islamist terrorist? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Okay.
110%.
Okay. Dr. Ranganathan, is Burhan Wani an Islamist terrorist? Yes or no?
Absolutely yes.
Tehseen Poonawala, is he an Islamist terrorist? Yes or no?
An Islamic jihadi terrorist who BJP gave 4 lakh rupees to.
Mr. Kashani, is Wani an Islamist terrorist? Yes or no?
He paid what he had told for. Yes, I mean that is not Islam. That is not Islam.
Tariq Saab,
What he did
is he an
Islam.
Islamist terrorist? Yes or no?
My
God.
This is not Islam.
Tariq Saab, boliye. Was he an Islamist terrorist? Yes or no? Burhan Wani.
Rahul, one thing I failed
yes
to
or
understand,
no?
why don't you call
See,
terrorist a
viewers,
terrorist? What do you mean by that, Islamic terrorist?
there you
What
go.
do you mean by that?
There you go.
What do you mean by that?
There you go.
Rahul, I need
There you go. Viewers, I need to close this debate. I need to close this debate immediately because it's quite clear where these individuals are coming from. There is no recognition of the facts. One person misleads us, the other person lies to us, the third person is xenophobic. Openly so. Where can there be a common thread? I don't know, viewers. I can't find it. There is a big problem. There is a big problem. The state, the Indian state, must not back down in the face of this xenophobia. That right to vote must be protected, secured. I leave it at that, viewers. I leave it at that because we move on tonight.